Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
It is another steamy night in Texas, and tonight in Arlington, the Rangers and the Tigers get together once again. We welcome you to Globe Life Park here in Arlington. Game 2 in the series featuring the Tigers and the Rangers. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pebble alongside Craig Monroe. Glad to have you with us here for Game 2 in the series. Tigers trying to bounce back, Craig, after last night's loss. They will send Matt Boyd to the mound in Game 2 here tonight. He'll face the veteran Cole Hamels. Couple of lefties.
Well, Matt Boyd definitely has his work cut out for him. The Texas Rangers offense is hitting on all cylinders. He'll have to pitch aggressive inside, and that will open up the outside part of the plate for Mario, where he can go to that real nice changeup fading down and away. And then on the other side, you got Cole Hamels. He's a business-like mound presence on the mound, and he absolutely is going to pound the strike zone and pitch inside with a good cutter at 92, 94 miles per hour, which is also going to allow him to open up the outside part of the plate, and he'll go to that changeup fading down and away to these right-hand hitters.
Yeah, the last 5 for Hamels have been awfully good. Hopefully that trend reverses here tonight. Now, the one guy that Boyd's going to have to worry about tonight apparently is Jonathan Lucroy. Some trades at the deadline don't work out, but this one has.
This one has definitely worked out, Mario. One of the things I enjoyed watching Jonathan Lucroy's approach at the plate is that he stays square to the plate, which allows him to stay inside the baseball, but also use the entire field. You'll see him take balls on the inside part of the plate and pull them simply out to left center. But if the ball is fading down and away from him, look for him to stay on the baseball and drive it the opposite way. He's a very accomplished hitter from the right side of the plate.
All right, Tigers trying to snap a 5-game losing streak here tonight against Cole Hamels. We'll see what happens. Game 2 in the series coming up, but right now back to the Coliseum Studios and Matt Shepard. On Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise our expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica. And by Ram, who invites you to check out the great deals on Ram vehicles now until August 11th. It is another warm night here in Arlington, Texas. It is game 2 of the series, Tigers and Rangers. The starting lineup for the Tigers presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers tonight. And the lineup for Brad Ausmus looks like this: Kinsler, McGee, and Cabrera in the top 3 spots. Victor batting cleanup, then J.D. Martinez. Upton is in left, and your bottom 3 a different look tonight. Aviles in center, Saltalamacchia, and Machado is up from AAA to play short, and they are facing the left-handed offerings of Cole Hamels.
Let's take a look at the Texas Rangers starting defense, brought to you by Tim Hortons. Up the middle, they have Elvis Andrus at shortstop, also Rougned Odor. They also have at the corners, they've got Adrian Beltre at third base and Mitch Moreland at first. Behind the plate will be Jonathan Lucroy. And around the outfield, Desmond in center, Provar in left field, and they have Chin Soo Choo in right field.
And Ian Kinsler getting things started here for the Tigers. Kinsler, McGee, and Cabrera. The Tigers dropped the opener last night, although they battled back. They were down 8-1. Made it an 8-5 ball game, but that's as close as they could get. Hamels with the 1-strike pitch, and he will look at a Kinsler, that is, ball down low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Ian in the ball game last night, 1 out of 4, and has hit safely in 9 of his last 10 ball games now. We'll look at a pitch up and in, and the count 2-1.
Kansas has been the most consistent hitter all season long. You got to love what he does at the top of this batting order. Love his approach. You love his grit, the way he plays the baseball game.
We'll look at a strike right at the belt, upper reaches of the strike zone, 2-2. Well, when he was on the Rangers, he was one of those guys you hated to play. But now that he's with the Tigers, he certainly brings that grit and energy to the Tiger Ball Club. 2-2 is lined to right, but foul. Ooh, look at that grab by the ball girl down there. That's pretty good. And she acted like she was there before. It was no big deal. 2-2 on Kinsler. .292 batting average. And a swing and a miss. Down he goes. And Hamels has his first strikeout of the night.
That's that cutter that we talked about early on. Cole Hamels, one of the few lefties that can command the inside part of the plate, and he's going to do it, Mario, with an 89 to 92 mile per hour cutter on the inside part of the plate.
He's one of the best in the game as Casey McGee stands in, rolls one back up the middle into center field, and it's a 1-out single. So McGee wasting little time against Hamels. That'll bring up Miguel Cabrera. Cabrera batting .310 with 26 home runs. In the ball game last night was 2 out of 4. He was part of the comeback for the Tigers. Had a 2-base hit in the 7th inning. The Tigers really put some pressure on the Rangers last night. Hamels works at home, and it's a strike called on the inside part of the plate. Not too many people will really scare Miguel Cabrera, and that includes Cole Hamels. He is 8 for 15 against him for a .533 clip. Infield playing to pull on Cabrera, opening up the right side. And Miggy swings, shoots it foul down the third base line. Was just a tad out in front. 0-2. There's the defensive alignment for Cabrera, playing to pull the outfield straight and maybe a step or two back.
Hamels have thrown Miggy 2 cutters on the inside part of the plate. Look for him here to elevate that fastball, see if he'll chase.
Swung on and driven to right center field. Ball hit pretty good, but it appears to be playable. And it is by the center fielder, Desmond.
Let's take a look at the Texas Rangers starting defense, brought to you by Tim Hortons. Up the middle, they have Elvis Andrus at shortstop, Odor, Rougned Odor at second base. And in the corners, they've got Adrian Beltre, Mitch Moreland at first base. And behind the plate, the guy that did the damage last night, Jonathan Lucroy. And in center field, they have Ian Desmond. And right to left, they have Sin Chu in right field and Jerkson Provar in left field.
Well, here is Victor Martinez now with 2 outs. And Vimart in the ballgame last night was 0 for 4, had a tough night against Yu Darvish, as did many of the Tigers early in that game. Here's a ground ball back up the middle, but Odor is there. And that'll take care of the Tigers here in the first. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. We'll go to the bottom of the first. Here comes Boyd. First inning, Matt Boyd this evening, presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Matt Boyd, for me, has really matured as a pitcher this year. In order for him to have success, though, against this Texas Rangers lineup, Mario, he's going to have to pitch inside aggressively with that fastball, and then he's going to have to go to that changeup down and away to right-handed hitters.
Well, he will take on a pretty good lineup here tonight, a lineup that flexed its muscle early in the ball game last night, racing out to that big 8-1 lead.
Well, it definitely won't be an easy task, but he'll have to make the Texas Rangers batters a little bit uncomfortable with the good fastball inside where he can open up the outside part of the plate for himself.
Shin-Soo Choo looks at a pitch at the top of the strike zone, 0-1.
And it's also going to be important for him to change speeds, keep them off balance. They do a really good job of hitting mistakes. And last night with Anibal Sanchez on the mound, we saw exactly that. The mistakes that Sanchez made, they were able to capitalize.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. A little slow roller hit to the right side of the infield. Kinsler. And Chu is out, 1 gone. Here's the rest of the Tigers starting lineup tonight, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, the Rangers rather. The Rangers, you saw Chu with Desmond following, then Beltre. You've got Beltran, the DH, followed by Odor and Lucroy, who had a huge night last night. Moreland, Jurickson Profar, and Elvis Andrus rounding it out for the Rangers this evening. 1 gone, and here is Ian Desmond. .292 batter, had a couple of hits last night. And Boyd missing outside. The one thing, Simo, they say about Boyd is he may not have the stuff as some of the other guys, some of the other rookies that the Tigers have, like a Norris or a Fulmer. But he can really pitch. He can move the ball in and out, up and down, and does a terrific job of keeping hitters off balance.
Well, it's so important for a left-hander especially. He's not going to overpower him with the fastball. Fastball gets up to 90, 91 miles per hour. So he's going to have to move the baseball around and change speeds in order to maneuver through this Texas Rangers lineup.
Strike called on Desmond. He didn't like that call. It was on the inside part of the plate, beefing now with Tom Hallion.
Well, I like right away, he's establishing that he's going to go inside with that fastball.
Sprayed foul back out of play. 1-2 the count stays. Boyd threw one scoreless inning in that marathon. The Tigers played 15-inning game in Seattle. And so he was pushed back in starting tonight's game as opposed to last night's game. Here again, the 1-2. And a bouncing ball to first. That is a foul ball.
I feel like Boyd continues to get better, Mario. He's throwing now. He's got a confidence in every pitch. He throws every pitch with conviction. And no longer is he trying to nibble on the outside or the inside part of the play. It appears to me that he is on the attack. And I think that's going to bode well for him moving forward to be able to get some easier outs and hopefully pitch deeper into the game.
That'll miss low. 2-2. I remember talking to Matt a couple of weeks ago about being traded for David Price, and he said that really didn't add too much more pressure. He said there's enough when you come to a new organization. He goes, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just trying to fit in. 2-2 is popped up. Shallow right field. Kinsler back, and there are two gone.
Let's take a look at the Tigers starting defense presented by Beaumont Health. Let's talk about around the infield we have on the corners. You got Casey McGee at third base, Miguel Cabrera, the big fella, at first. Up the middle, Dixon Machado at short, and Kinsler at second base. And behind the plate, you have Salt Talamacchia. And around the outfield, how about this? Michael Vilas in center field. You got Jay Upton left, and J.D. Martinez in right field.
And the rookie Machado, as you mentioned, at short, getting the start. The Tigers, of course, had to place Iglesias on the disabled list yesterday, so Dixon was playing some pretty good baseball down at AAA.
Well, he's got a solid glove. There's no question about that. He's got tremendous range.
No balls, 2 strikes on Beltre.
I think it's going to be important while he's here to have some success so he can build that confidence in the batter's box. But you have to like this young man on the defensive side of the ball.
Here's the 0-2 now to Beltre. And he shoots one to third out of the reach of a diving McGee into left field. This guy just keeps hitting.
Make him stop.
Tigers have a tough time getting Beltre out. 2-out single.
Looked like a changeup there, though. Beltre kept his hands back long enough and was able to put the barrel of the bat. Took a pretty good swing right there to get a first base hit of the night.
Well, here is Carlos Beltran, who's batting .306, one of the acquisitions at the trade deadline. He'll swing, bounce it foul, third base side.
Well, Mario, it appears early on that the Texas Rangers are going to be aggressive. Again, they know that Boyd can't overpower him with the fastball, and so you're very comfortable in the batter's box. Now it's about getting a good pitch to hit in your zone, and it looks like that's what the Rangers are doing so far.
Beltran, a switch hitter, has had a marvelous career, and he'll look at a ball that floats outside. 1 ball and 1 strike on Beltran. Tigers, of course, have had to dig deep to fill out their rotation with injuries to Zimmerman and Pelfrey. Here's the 1-1 pitch, driven high in the air to left field, playable. Justin Upton is under it, and Boyd will have a scoreless first inning. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. If the Tigers combine for 3 or more home runs in this game, bring a copy of the box score to a participating Arby's location tomorrow and get a free small order of curly fries. And we'll see if JD Martinez can get it started here as we go to the second in a scoreless game. Cole Hamels deals inside and high, 1-0. Martinez, Upton, and Aviles for the Tigers here in the second. JD right now is sitting on 99 career home runs, looking for his 100th. And he looks at the ball low. Earlier this year, Saltalamacchia hit his 100th career homer. We'll see if JD can get his tonight. It's a pretty good park to try and get it in.
Well, he's going to have to lay off that cutter on the inside part of the plate and get something outside that he can handle and get some extension on.
2 balls and 1 strike on Martinez, who last night was 1 for 2. He also walked a couple of times. Those first 3 at-bats were against Yu Darvish. Tigers seeing the Rangers top 2 in the first 2 games in this series. Here's the 2-1. Ripped foul to third base. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Cole Hamels has a lot of confidence, Mario, in his changeup. Hits its best pitch. It's a circle change in a 2-2 count. That's his go-to pitch. Look for him to throw that changeup down and away and see if he can't get JD Martinez out.
Right back up the middle on the ground. Diving try. Odor can't get it into center field. That'll be a base hit. And so the Tigers had the leadoff man on. Here's the Bernstein advantage, the pitcher-batter matchup between these two, Hamels and Upton. And for as much as J-Up has been struggling recently, maybe this will get him going tonight. Pretty good numbers against Hamels. Justin was 0 for 4 in the ball game last night. Pretty good piece of hitting there by JD Martinez.
It really was a fastball out over the plate. He stayed on that baseball and hit it right back up the middle.
Upton skies one in the air to left field. It's going to stay in the ballpark. Profar is under it. And 1 gone.
Upton continues to struggle a little bit for me, Mario, and I think his swing right now appears to be a little bit long. That when he got up under that baseball, he barreled it up, but again, when that backside dips, you can barrel it up, but you're going to hit a fly ball. It's just it's a lazy fly ball, and it's an easy out.
How much is fatigue a part of that swing getting long?
I feel like that's it. He hasn't had a day off, and you don't want to make excuses for him. There's no question about that. He gets it, that he's struggling, but at the same time, I feel like he needs a day off.
Here is Aviles, who looks at a ball low.
Bat starts to get a little heavy.
The problem is for Brad Ausmus meandering through all of these injuries. Now, if you give Upton a day off, they're already down an outfielder in Cameron Maben. There's a drive toward left field. That ball is hooking. Fair ball. Going to go to the corner. Martinez coming to third base. They're going to stop him there, and Aviles has himself a double. And Brad said before the game, Aviles has been inserted into the lineup tonight because of perhaps a spark offensively, and there you have it.
Well, he got him a pitch down in the end. Cole Hamels continued to throw that cutter, and now it appears to me that the Tigers are looking for that pitch in there. And that was an outstanding piece of hitting there by Mike Aviles, going down and getting that baseball and hitting it down the left field line.
Second and third for the Tigers with 1 out, and Saltalamacchia will stand in.
Here's where you don't want to get greedy. The job for Salty in the batter's box is run at third base, less than 2 outs. You got to get a fly ball. The infield's back. So now you can hit a ground ball towards the middle of the field and take the give me RBI.
Saltalamacchia this year has knocked in 33. That's how they play him defensively. Swung around to the left side of the infield. And Salty is jammed inside. They want the appeal. He did not go. 2-0 the count on Saltalamacchia.
Mario, you like these situations as a hitter, especially when the infield's back with the guy at third base and even with the guy at second base. The rule of thumb here is you want to hit the ball to the right side because you want to drive him in and get him over at the same time.
Now the count's gone 3-0. with Dixon Machado waiting on deck. Machado, the youngster called up from AAA Toledo. Here's the 3-0. Swing and a miss. He was swinging on 3-0. Pretty good. 5 out of 9 with a runner at third and less than 2 outs. The major league average is about 50%.
I mean, that's getting it done there.
Now the 3-1. Driven in the air to shallow right field. On the charge is Chu. He'll make the catch. Runner will tag but hold. Not deep enough to score the run. 2 gone. And the chance of Chu come ringing down now from the seats.
Salty might have got a little bit too aggressive as far as I'm concerned on that 3-0 pitch.
Yeah.
It was a cutter, which we talked about earlier. That's where Hamill's going to try to make a living on that inside part of play, jamming guys. And I think he might have got away with one there. Chased one inside on him where he would have been ball 4. Felt like Hamills was trying to pitch around him a little bit to get to the young Dixon Machado.
Agreed. I think he was pretty much trying to put him at first base.
With the base open, I thought so.
A wave and a miss by Machado. So Machado was at 266 with 42 RBIs. Down at AAA Toledo. Here are his big league numbers. Came up last year for the Tigers. He was up a couple of times. Now the 0-1. Rolled foul. No balls and 2 strikes.
Well, he doesn't have a lot of movement. Machado doesn't have a lot of movement in his swing. And he's facing the left end. He's a guy that likes to stay on the baseball and drive it the opposite way. So I think this matchup bodes well for him. And he can come up right now with a real big 2-out knock for the Tigers.
Infield playing him to pull. The 0-2. Swinging a bouncer toward third base. That'll be a foul ball. Those are the AAA numbers. And as well, he stole 17 bases this year. So that is also an aspect of his game that is an addition to the Tigers.
I mean, he also drove in 42 runs down there. I mean, for a shortstop, that's being productive. I'd like to see some of those swings here at the big league level.
Just got a piece of it. Knocked it out of the glove of Lucroy. Well, the one thing about Machado was they wanted him to get bigger and stronger. And Dixon was saying before the game today that he's worked hard on that aspect of sculpting his body a little bit more, getting more upper body strength. Because we know he can play the position defensively. He's listed at 6'1", 169. Just off the outside part of the plate. Boy, the infielders were headed back to the dugout. Hamels wanted it, didn't get it. 1-2.
Hamels tried to locate backdoor that breaking ball. Missed outside a little bit.
Veteran pitcher, rookie hitter, a lot of times that's called a strike.
Yes. That was a show me pitch. Here he comes inside.
Checked it. Did not go. 2-2. There's the ratio after 30 pitches in this game.
20 strikes, pounding the strike zone. You have to love the cat and mouse game that goes on between the hitter and the pitcher. The pitcher trying to set Dixon Machado. He went away with the cutter, the back door. Then he came back inside. I just love those matchups when guys are trying to keep you off balance. You have to stick to your approach and what you like to do. And even with 2 strikes, Murray, you have to expand your strike zone. And anything close, you have to try to barrel up, foul off at least a pitcher's pitch to get yourself a good pitch that you can handle.
Well, the longer the at-bat goes, the more you feel that Hamels might make a mistake and Machado might put it in play and get himself a couple of RBIs.
Well, as a hitter, you start to get comfortable, too.
And that's low, and now the count goes 3-2. So he quickly got ahead of him 0-2, and now Hamels behind in the count.
And now Machado has seen everything. He's seen that cutter. He's seen the release point, so he can pick it up. He understands when it starts a little bit lower, he knows that that ball's going to dive down a little bit deeper below the knees, and so he had some confidence in taking that particular pitch.
This will be the 9th pitch coming up in this at bat. The Tigers have runners at second and third. And we'll see if the rookie can put the Tigers on top. And he takes a walk, ball 4, so Machado keeps the inning going. Nicely done by Dixon.
That's a solid at bat by Machado, guys. He took some tough pitches. There are some pitches that he was able to lay off, and he put together a solid at bat.
And he turns the lineup over now with the bases loaded to Ian Kinsler. Meanwhile, the veteran Lucroy going out, and it's turned into a somewhat lengthy inning now for Hamels.
Well, Hamels will have to be careful here with Ian Kinsler. He continues to throw that cutter inside. Kinsler's a hitter. He likes the ball middle in, so he'll have to be careful, not make a mistake, because Kinsler's one of those guys with 21 home runs that can make you pay with one swing of the bat.
Ian, a chance now to give the Tigers an early lead in this game. No score in the second. Martinez singled, Avilos doubled, and Machado has walked. Kinsler takes high, 1-0. Hamels since the All-Star break 3-1, but his ERA a microscopic 1.83. He's been doing some of his best work since the break. Here's the 1-0. Kinsler swings, it'll tapper right by or to Hamels, who will make the play, and that is that. The Tigers threaten, but they leave him loaded. And we go to the bottom of the second. Here come the Rangers now as we go to the bottom of the second. It is still a scoreless ball game. Tigers had a primo opportunity, but Hamels able to pitch out of it. And now Boyd will go back to work facing Odor, Lucroy, and Moreland. Matt gave up a single to Beltre in the first, but no damage. And the first one drops in nicely. Breaking ball, strike one. Rougned Odor, a 7-game hitting streak. Was 1 for 4 in last night's ball game. Little guy, but a lot of power. 22 homers this year. 0-2.
I like that Boyd had the confidence right there, more on that first pitch to throw a breaking ball. Odor sits on that first pitch fastball, and you talked about his power. 22 home runs, 60 RBIs, doing major damage. So I like that Boyd was able to keep him off balance there on that first pitch.
That's driven in the air to center field. Mike Avila's coming in, and Odor retired, one gone. That'll bring up Jonathan Lucroy. And here's the Chevy Silverado most dependable player. It's going to be Lucroy, the highest OPS since the All-Star break, and he is at the top of a pretty impressive list here. Look at the name Simo on this list.
Well, Mike Napoli's, he's in another world right now. He's resurged his career, hitting absolute bombs in Cleveland. He's carrying that offense with Michael Brantley out all season long, pretty much.
Yeah, well, the Indians got some bad news today. Season-ending surgery for Brantley again, so he is done for the year.
That's a big blow. I know they were expecting him back. They was looking forward to getting him back because, again, he's one of the most professional hitters in the game, slashing to all fields, hits with power. He'll be missed in that lineup.
Well, the Indians thought they had this guy here, Lucroy. They had a deal worked out for him, but he decided he was going to veto that trade. And Lucroy takes inside. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Exercising his rights.
He did. He certainly earned it in terms of what his contract said, and he had a no-trade clause to several teams, including the Indians. And since August 1st, then, that trade, he's done really good work here. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Lucroy. And honestly, we really haven't seen enough or a lot of this guy because he played in the National League, but his numbers really solid over with Milwaukee.
They really are. I got a chance to talk to some guys that was in the Milwaukee organization, and they just talked about his professionalism, his approach at the plate. Again, we talk about staying square to the plate, being able to handle both inside and outside pitches, keeping his hands back to be able to handle the off-speed pitches.
And Boyd tied him up there and struck him out. 2 gone. That'll be the first strikeout of the ball game now for Boyd. Well, stay tuned to Tigers Live. Following the game, we'll select the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers Player of the Game, presented by McDonald's. Stop by for your breakfast favorites, now being served all day. 2 up, 2 down. It's so far so good for Boyd. Here's Mitch Moreland. Strike 1 to Moreland down the outer edge. Pounding the strike zone.
Well, that's what you want from Boyd. You want him to pound the strike zone, pitch ahead in the count, so then when he gets you to 2 strike, he can expand the strike zone. And so far, so good.
A little bit of room down the third base line for Moreland, who homered in the ball game last night, was 1 for 4.
Moreland has showed consistent power. The Rangers would love for him to be more consistent hitter, though. He's hitting .255. They believe that he's a lot better than that. He's a .280 to .290 hitter with that same power.
Well, this year is his 3rd season of 20 or more home runs. The 2-1 pitch outside, 3 balls and 1 strike. Moreland, we do know this, will give you a solid game defensively at first base. He is among the best in the American League.
Smooth hands over at first base.
His percentage is the best. That's driven to right field, going to get down. Looks like extra bases. All the way to the wall. Moreland is on his way to second, and he will pull in with a 2-out double.
Well, right there, you got a pitch that he can handle. Boyd trying to get that breaking ball down and away from him, but he ended up leaving it over the heart of the plate. And Moreland was able to drive it down the right field line. Take a look at the swing, though. Gets the front foot down, head down, keeps his hands back, and just drives that ball to down the right field line for a double.
Second hit of the ball game for Texas. A 2-out scoring chance now for Jurickson Profar. And Profar pops it up. First pitch he sees. Kinsler goes back to the grass, and the threat is over. No runs, a double, one left. Let's go to the third.
Back to Globe Life Park. If you missed it yesterday, we talked so much about the middle infielders of the Texas Rangers, how good they've been. They've turned 150 double plays, most in the major leagues. But yesterday, you could not tell. They made a few errors, and the Tigers were not able to capitalize, Mario.
Well, especially up the middle, you got Andrews and Odor. They did their best to give away that game last night. The Tigers just could not push the door in. And there's a swing and a foul off the bat of Casey McGee. But you're right, it is a middle of the infield that has turned a boatload of double plays this year. 150, and they're among the best in the major leagues. McGee 1 for 1, had a single in his first at bat. Soft line drive toward third over the head of Beltre into left field. That wasn't impressive, but it'll count. And now McGee is 2 for 2. Hey, just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to, Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Tigers now with the leadoff man on for the second straight inning. How about Brad? He puts McGee in the 2 spot of the lineup, but he's gotten 2 knocks.
Well, you got to love their approach too, though. It looks like they're giving him the inside part of the plate, and they're trying to stay on the baseball and use the middle of the field. And I think that's going to bode well for him throughout this game against Cole Hamel, given the fact that he has an outstanding changeup.
Miguel Cabrera takes ball 1. I was talking to Tyler Collins the other day about hitting second in the lineup because he's done it quite a bit, and he said, man, hitting in front of Miggy's pretty good. You get a lot of pitches that you might not get lower in the lineup.
Well, you feel like, yeah, you know you're going to get some fastball, and all you have to do is get yourself in a good hitting position and try not to miss it.
In there, a strike called right down the middle. 1-1 on Cabrera. Hamels has pitched in 5 postseasons. And of course, he won the NLCS and World Series MVPs in 2008 when the Phillies won it all. So he does bring that element of postseason experience, which is obviously very big. Miggy fouls it back out of play. 1-2.
I absolutely love his poise on the mound. He doesn't get rattled much. He had traffic in the last inning there in the first inning. He didn't panic. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. He knew he had to make some pitches, and he simply made some pitches, and he got out of the jam.
Especially after walking the number 9 hitter Machado to load the bases. Then Kinsler comes up, and he got him to ground back to the mound. Now the 1-2. Cabrera swings, hard ground ball to third off the glove of Beltre. Everybody is safe as McGee moves up. Beltre, the Gold Glover down there, could not handle that one.
Miggy hits an absolute missile down to Beltre. He wasn't able to, sure-handed Beltre, wasn't able to make that play. Ball was whistled down the third base line.
Still waiting on the scoring decision. On one hand, you've got a ball that's extremely hard hit, but on the other hand, it's a Gold Glover down there at third. We'll see how they rule it. In the meantime, 2 on, nobody out. And the Tigers have Victor Martinez coming up.
Well, being a former hitter, that's a hit for me. Mario, that's a hit all day long. I squared up that hard. That's a hit for me.
And the official score agrees.
Thank you.
He called it a base hit. All day, every day, right?
Yes, sir.
Victor looks at a strike called. It's been kind of a tough series for Martinez. He struck out 3 times last night, and we very rarely will ever say that.
Yeah, he had a tough time yesterday against Yu Darvish picking up the baseball. I thought Yu Darvish did an outstanding job of pounding him on the inside part of the plate with good fastballs. He was cutting it, breaking balls.
Popped up. Shallow right field. Chu coming on, and he'll make the play. Runners will hold, 1 gone. Now J.D. Martinez. So Hamels again for the 2nd straight inning trying to pitch through some trouble.
The Tigers are getting some traffic on the bases. They're just not able to, as you said, deliver that big punch, deliver that blow to get on the board.
Singles by McGee and Cabrera. JD had a base hit in the 2nd. Tigers already have 5 hits in this game. Playing to pull on the infield. And Martinez looks at ball 1. Hamels faced the Tigers back in May in Detroit and beat them 5-1, 7 scoreless in that game, and he punched out 9 Tigers. There's a bouncing ball left side deep in the hole. They'll go to third, and they get the force there. What a play by Andrews.
Also a smart play there. Knew that he had no chance of getting J.D. Martinez at first base, no chance of getting Miggy at second. And he simply cuts down McGee at third base. Very smart play. And understand, goes deep into the hole and got right. He recognized right away, had no chance of throwing J.D. Martinez out. And he gets Casey McGee at third base.
So with 2 outs now, that'll bring up Upton. And once again, Hamels a chance to pitch out of some stress. Upton flied out his first time up.
Upton's due. With
Big
all
time.
the injuries, Nick Castellanos on the DL, obviously Iggy. There's some, you got to have players step up. They went out to sign him to be a productive hitter in this lineup. It hasn't happened as much as he would like, I'm sure, but now is the time. If he's going to ever get going, now would be the time.
Well, you know, Justin feels bad about his start. Obviously coming to a new organization, new city, trying to impress the fans and his new team. And he never really got off to a good start. Showed some signs about midway through, but has again slumped. He is 0 for his last 16. Swing and a miss. And the count is 0-2.
And I'm not sure, Mario, I've been paying close attention to J-Up's swing, and I'm not sure if this is where he always stands in the batter's box, but it appears to me that he's off the plate a little bit, and they continue to throw fastballs and cutters, fastballs away from him, and he doesn't seem to be able to cover that outside part of the plate.
In the air toward right field. Chu is under it, and that is that. So the Tigers again threaten but do not score. They strand 2, and we go to the bottom of the 3rd. All right, Johnny, thanks. Here it is, a scoreless ball game. Although the Tigers have had their opportunities in this game, Matt Boyd has looked pretty good through 2 innings. He'll face Elvis Andrus to get things started here in the bottom of the 3rd. Andrus and then Chu and then Ian Desmond. 50 RBIs this year for the Rangers shortstop. Ahead in the count, 2-0. And he'll look at a strike, 2-1.
He's been clutch all year, Mario, hitting at the bottom of that lineup. He's hitting .292, 4 home runs. But what's impressive is the RISP, our runners in scoring position. He's hitting .338.
Little chopper there to Machado, who makes a nice play off to his left. 1 out here in the 3rd. Well, the guys were talking about the wild card in the playoff picture, and here's how it looks right now.
Well, it looks like the Tigers got some work to do.
Well, yeah, the Tigers certainly do have some work to do.
But the Yankees are only 3 out. They got rid of Chapman. They got rid of Andrew Miller. They got a whole new team, and all of a sudden they're still in the thick of things.
They are 4 games over. The Tigers right now trailing the wild card by 1.5 and Cleveland by 5. Indians tonight have the Angels again, but they're in a rain delay. There's a ground ball hit right into the shift, and McGee will throw out Chu. That'll be a 5-3 ground out in your scorebook. 2 gone.
Well, when you start talking about that playoff chase, the Tigers are going to have to weather the storm. And it's storming, and it's raining hard.
It's raining right now.
I mean, it's raining with all the guys on the DL. But make no excuse, guys. It's next man up. And somebody will have to step up and start contributing in big ways. Jay Up stands out. James McCann at the bottom of the batting order have to step up.
Well, when you look at the injury situation, Iglesias shouldn't be much more than the 15 days. Zimmerman is close to coming back. Cameron Maybin hopefully close to coming back. And once the pieces start rolling in the month of September, hopefully there's going to be enough time, and there should be, to make one final charge. Now, Michael Fulmer has been fabulous in the middle of the Tigers rotation.
Huge surprise. But you have to love the way he attacks hitters, the confidence that he shows on the mound.
Desmond takes ball 1, 1-2. Popped up in his first at bat. And right now Boyd is matching Cole Hamels pitch for pitch in this game. Desmond came in batting just .174 in his last 20, so he has cooled as the middle of the summer has picked up. He had a marvelous month of May and a great month of June as well. Was way over 300 both of those months. He'll shoot that one in the air to left field, sinking. Upton coming on to make the catch. 10-pitch inning for Matt Boyd. Nicely done. 3 in the books. No score. Along with Craig Moreau, we're going to be welcome now and joining in with Rod Allen in the Callsam Studios, the air-conditioned Callsam Studios. I should mention. But Rod, I know that you're a big proponent of not only what Lucroy can do for a team offensively, but also what he can do for a team with the glove as well. Mike Aviles getting things started here in the 4th inning for the Tigers. 2 balls and no strikes on Aviles. I know Darvish last night talked about extensively how Lucroy stole him maybe a pitch or 2 in that game, maybe more, with his abilities. There's a ball low, and the count goes to 3-0 now on Aviles.
Well, he just shows, I mean, tremendous leadership skill behind the plate. He forces you to throw the baseball where he wants. Watching him the other day, talking about Matt Bush was on the mound. And he was so emphatic about get the ball down, making sure that he bounced the ball when it was a 1-2 count. So it just tells you, it shows you his leadership skills behind the plate. And obviously, the Rangers pitching staff have enjoyed throwing to Lucroy.
Well, Aviles now with a leadoff walk here in the 4th inning. So the Tigers have gotten the leadoff man on in 3 straight innings now. And you would hope that eventually the stress will start to mount on Hamels and that he would crack at some point. Saltalamacchia stands in. And he'll rip one to left, a base hit out of the reach of Beltre. And Aviles going to come to third. Here's the throw, and he is going to be out at third base. Well, that play was right in front of him, and he challenged Profar, who threw him out.
Well, you got to like the aggressiveness, the aggressive base running there, but you also have to be smart. And if that ball's right in front of you, this ball is right in. Take a look at this pitch here. This ball is right in front of Mike Aviles. He knows that he wants to test him, but I'm not sure, Mario, in that particular moment is the time to test the arm of Jurickson Profar. He threw an absolute missile, 1 hop to third base, and you just don't like to run yourself out of innings.
Machado rolls one foul to third base. I think you're right, Rod. I think Aviles right now, and I think a lot of the Tigers, and I don't know if this is your impression as well, but a lot of the Tigers are kind of looking for a spark right now, and maybe Aviles thought that might be one way to try and get it done.
But I also feel like Cole Hamels has a lot to do with that. I mean, obviously, he's been in big pressure situation, and he doesn't let it get the best of him. I think he simply made some pitches. He has that real sneaky, easy delivery where the ball jumps on the hitters on both sides of the plate, righties and lefties. And then he has that ability to slow you down with a real nasty, I mean, absolute nasty changeup. So you got to give Cole Hamels some credit, too, even though he got some traffic. And the other boys might be pressing a little bit. But at the same time, the guy on the mound is really good.
1-2 is outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes now on Machado.
No.
You know, it's a good point, Ron, because I think sometimes the numbers, you know, when you talk about what a team is when a certain guy starts, might be more important than what that guy's record actually is. Here's the 2-2. Machado looks at a ball low, 3-2. Now the 3-2 coming home, and he got him, strike 3. Ian Kinsler will take a ball inside. Rod, I know that you were talking about this on one of the recent broadcasts, that the fact that the Indians did not get him with Yan Gomes out was really a big blow to them. That's skied in the air to shallow right field. Long run for Chu. Still coming, sliding, and he can't handle it. They're going to try and score a run. Here comes the throw to the plate, and he is safe at home plate. No, he got him. They said he tagged him. Oh, what a tag there by Lucroy. Saltalamacchia had tried to score. There was little hesitation on the call at third between the runner and Dave Clark. And wait a minute, no, Brad has waved it off. What a tag by Lucroy. The Tigers tried to sneak a run, but Lucroy reaching back just got a piece of it.
We just had ourselves a nice play at the home plate here. 2 outs. Ball down the right field line. Chu has an absolute long run to get to this baseball. Not able to make a play, but if you take a look at Salty there, right in the middle between second and third, he kind of slowed down there, not running, and it might have cost the Tigers a run, Rod, as far as I'm concerned.
And as a result, it is still a scoreless game as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. And for the Rangers, it'll be Adrian Beltre to lead it off.
And those are the kind of things that happen. Absolutely. Those are the things that happen when you're not playing your best baseball. These are the things that happen. Guys get thrown out at third. And you have to love the play, though, here by Lucroy. He makes an outstanding tag to nab Salty at the plate. He's fitting right in. Listen, this team here plays with a lot of energy, a lot of excitement.
You know, Rod, one of the things I've noticed about Lucroy is he seems to be a very athletic catcher, and I think his athleticism kind of helped him on that play. There's a high fly ball into shallow right field. On the move is Martinez. And Beltre is out, 1 gone.
Well, I like the fact that he's being efficient, right? A lot of first pitch strikes. And he's also pitching aggressive inside, which has really allowed him to expand the strike zone. He's thrown some good breaking balls. He's thrown a real good changeup as well.
Beltran, the batter, and he looks at a ball outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Beltran flying to left in his first at bat. And he pops that one up. Shallow right field. Kinsler back. Martinez in. And JD makes the play. 2 gone. So Boyd continues to roll along here. 2 away in the 4th.
I like JD right there in right field, being aggressive. Letting in Kinsler know that I got it, I got it. Kinsler had his back, not back to him, but he was running towards, going back, trying to catch this ball. But JD, as being the jefe, so to speak, over the infield, he calls him off, and that's how you draw it up.
Now Rougned Odor with 2 outs. He'll roll one to first base, foul just outside of the line. There's a swing and a pop-up. This will be down the first base line for Cabrera. He's under it, and they'll get Odor, and it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning. 11 pitch 4th. Rod, thanks for checking in, buddy. We'll see you on postgame. You got him, man. Greater coverage of baseball, and with Alex Rodriguez being let go by the Yankees, there are only 4 actives now that have ever played at Tiger Stadium in Detroit. And Beltran is one of them. He's in this series. Pierzynski, Ortiz, and Bartolo Colon the others. And, well, I guess time marches on, Simo.
Yes, sir. You look at this list here, though. Nobody else is playing. Carlos Beltran playing here in the Rangers. I didn't get a chance to play there, Mario. I heard a lot of great things about old Tiger Stadium.
Old Tiger Stadium was something else, man. I know time marches on, and eventually stadiums kind of outlive themselves and need to be improved. But boy, there was something about Michigan in Trumbull for those that grew up in the area and even before. Just a special place.
The great Willie Horton telling me the stories.
There's another base hit for McGee. He is 3 for 3 in the 2 spot today. Leadoff man on. We check in now with John Keating.
Well, it makes us nostalgic when we come here to Globe Life Park because there are little touches of some old-time ballparks, including, Mario, Tiger Stadium. The right field roof here is sort of a nod to what happened at Michigan and Trumbull back in the day. And I had a great conversation earlier today with the former Tiger, Doug Brocail, who was a Tiger in '97. He said he loved everything about pitching at Tiger Stadium. He loved the history, the authentic nature of Tiger Stadium. And I've got a great story that he shared about his Tiger beginnings that we'll get to in just a second.
There's a ball down low to Cabrera. There's Brocail, who is the pitching coach for the Rangers.
Doug Brocail was given some advice by a guy he really didn't know. He knew the history of Tiger Stadium, but this guy said, pitch inside, be aggressive. You've got great stuff. Turns out that Doug Brocail thought Al Kaline had passed away, and this was Al Kaline giving him advice. And when he introduced himself as Al Kaline, Brocail said to him, Al Kaline Jr.?
Oh, jeez. There's a ball hit to the gap in right center field. That's going to get down. That'll send McGee to third. And the Tigers are in business again against Cole Hamels.
Again, we got traffic on the bases. Great piece of hitting there by Miggy. Now you got first and third. Again, you got the best hitter. And J.D. Martinez here. Take a look at that swing there. Miggy classic, stays inside of it. You like McGee being aggressive, getting himself to third base there. And this is where you call, this is the team at bat here, people. You got to run at third base, less than 2 outs. So important with the infield playing halfway depth. You got to get a pitch up and out over the plate where you can hit a fly ball to the outfield to score. McGee at third base.
So McGee and Cabrera, the 2 and 3 hitters of the lineup, have combined for 5 hits in this game. Tigers have 9 hits. And a ball outside to Victor Martinez.
Cole Hamels will try to get Vmar to expand the strike zone. He's going to try to also crowd it with some cutters on the inside part of the plate. It's going to be very important for Vmar to get a pitch that he can handle and get the job done.
Ball high, 2-0. Well, this is the 4th consecutive inning now that Hamels has had some pretty good stress. He's able to get out of a bases loaded jam in the 2nd. Tigers left 2 more in the 3rd and had a runner thrown out at the plate in the 4th.
Well, the reason he's able to get out of it, Mario, he doesn't give in. He's not going to give in to the hitter. He's going to continue to try to hit the corners on both sides of the plate with all of his pitches.
On the ground up the middle into center field, base hit. And the Tigers will score first here tonight. It's an RBI single for Victor Martinez.
That pitch is down and out over the plate. You love the fact that he didn't roll it over, didn't try to do too much. He simply stayed on that baseball and hit it right back up the middle. And he drives in the first run of the game.
Still nobody out. The RBI for Victor is 67th. Tigers have a 1-0 lead, and now Victor and Cabrera aboard. And J.D. Martinez, who is 1 for 2, stands in. Eventually, after getting the leadoff man on in 4 straight innings, the Tigers had to at some point get a run in. Now J.D., whose batting average is an even 300, steps in. And he takes a strike right at the bottom of the strike zone, 0-1.
Hamels not making many mistakes tonight, Mario. He's keeping the baseball south of the knees. He's nibbling them. I mean, he's hitting both sides of the corners on both sides of the plate. Again, J.D. in this particular situation, 1st and 2nd, he's going to get a pitch that he can handle right here.
No balls, 2 strikes.
And the elite pitchers in the game, as Cole Hamels is, they don't make many mistakes in one particular bat. And when you get a good pitch to hit, you really want to make sure that you put yourself in a good hitting position where you're able to barrel him up. J.D. missed a mistake pitch in that particular swing.
429 since coming off the disabled list. He'll get away from Lucroy, but not far enough. Well, there's no doubt that Hamels is elite. In fact, he went 7-1 with the Rangers after he was acquired in the deadline with the trade with the Phillies last year. The Rangers won his last 10 starts and eventually won the division last season. But Doug Brocail has watched the Tigers put up 10 hits already. And a check swing low. Lucroy wants the appeal, but he clearly held up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Three straight hits for the Tigers here in the 5th inning, and they lead 1-0. Still nobody out. The 2-2, swinging a grounder foul. Well, we talked about, Simo, the fact the last 2 trading deadlines, the Rangers did pretty well to improve their team.
Yes, they have, Mario. They added some depth, obviously, in their rotation, adding Cole Hamels last year. They also went out and got Sam Dyson, bolstering up their bullpen, Jake Diekman. And you have to love the addition this year of Carlos Beltran and Jonathan Luther.
Swing and a miss. He tried to hold up, and JD is out of there. 1 gone here in the 5th. Hey, on September 25th, end your day at Comerica Park with a yoga session on the field. Yoga Day packages include a ticket to the 105 game against the Royals, a Tigers yoga mat, and a post-game yoga class on the field, available exclusively at tigers.com/yoga. Simo, you're big into yoga, aren't you?
Yeah, not at all.
No? I know you've given it a try.
I have given it a try.
Here is Upton now with 1 out.
Went to the hot yoga. And boy, is that a workout.
I thought you were about to say I went to the hospital.
No. I felt like that after I was done holding those poses. I'm like, man, this is worse than going to the gym and pumping the 225 of the chest press.
It is, man. It's impressive.
It is.
For those that can do it, it is impressive. Upton, a couple of fly balls, 0 for 2. And this would be a good spot for him to get going here. Tigers lead 1-0. And Jay Up takes outside, 2 balls and no strikes. You're right, man. All night long, Hamels just will not give in.
Yeah, he's gonna force these guys to expand the strike zone, and that's exactly how he has made a living. He continues to pound the strike zone, but then he picks his poison. He understands exactly what he needs to do to get the hitter out.
There's a drive to left, base hit. Cabrera coming to third. They're going to stop him there, and the bases are loaded now for the Tigers.
Much better swing, too, right there by Jay Up. A little shorter. We talked about that swing being long. That's a very short, compact swing right there, and that's what you want to see from Jay Up there. Been a little bit more consistent with that swing. Take a look at that swing there. Good rhythm, good timing. Gets the bat head out front and hits a missile to left field.
And that breaks an 0 for 17 for Upton.
Oh, that feels good.
Now the Tigers need to cash in here as Avila strolls in with the bases loaded, 1 out. Avila's a double and a walk. And a bouncing ball to third. This could be 2, a 5, a 4, and a 3. A double play gets Hamels out of major trouble. Tigers get a run. You're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. to the scouting report on the home runs since the All-Star break. And this Texas team, not a surprise, Simo. They will hit some dingers.
Well, this ballpark's warranted. The ball absolutely flies here. You talk around the league, you talk to the big leaguers that come in and they get to visit here in Texas and play 3-4 games. They absolutely love hitting here. You don't have to try to get big with your swing. You can simply think a short, compact swing, and the ball will get up in the seats.
Matt Boyd goes to work, and the first pitch is hammered to left field. Upton is there, a couple of steps back, right in front of the warning track, one gone. So Boyd continues to cruise. He's gotten a lot of fly ball outs tonight. That's 8 straight retired by Matt Boyd. He's found a way to meander through this very difficult lineup, and so far in this game, he gave up a single in the first, a double in the second, but not much after that. Here is Mitch Moreland. Moreland had the 2-base hit in the second. Unfortunately for Boyd, it came with 2 outs. Ball inside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Mario, Moreland has hit 9 home runs. 9 home runs since the All-Star break. Giving himself a total of 20.
He'll get back out of play.
Here's our high-speed pitch brought to you by Xfinity. Fastball from Boyd getting up to 95 miles per hour. Changeup at a low of 73. Nice speed differential there between the fastball and changeup on Matt Boyd.
Yeah, he's been doing a terrific job in this ballpark. There's the ball low and away. Well, you talk about the 9 home runs for Moreland since the break, and you were mentioning the other night, or in tonight as well, they're trying to get him to be a little more consistent in terms of batting average.
Well, they want him to be more consistent for his quality at bat every time up. They feel like he's better than a 255 hitter.
That's pulled right to the second baseman, Kinsler, who catches it right before it hits the turf. 2 gone now, and let's check in now with John Keating.
Well, Mario, not much surprises us anymore, but upon the realization that it is International Left-Handers Day, we talked to some of the lefties on this Tigers team, and to our great surprise, Matt Boyd wasn't always a lefty. He was about 8 years old. He went to a Mariners game in his native Seattle with his dad. It was Ken Griffey glove night, and so it was a left-hander's glove. And at that point, Matt Boyd's life changed forever. He began throwing baseballs left-handed to the point that now he's a major leaguer and pitching very well for the Tigers tonight.
And I think in the pregame show you called him a fraud.
A little bit.
John Keating.
Yeah.
A fraud left-hander.
He's a used to be. How about maybe that's better? He used to. We all used to be something. He used to be a right-hander, and now he's a lefty.
All right, Keats, thanks.
Right.
Well, I guess the moral of the story is if you want your youngster to get to the big leagues, make sure he throws left-handed as a kid. He's got a better chance. 2-1 the count on Jurickson Profar here in the 5th inning. Tigers on top 1-0 on the RBI hit by Victor Martinez. Profar looks at a strike on the inside part of the plate. Thought it was a little bit in, and pitch track said that Profar might be right. Now he's chatting with Tom Hallion.
Well, he's doing it the right way. You don't want to look back at him. You want to keep your head down, and you can let him know. You can let him give you a piece that you believe you thought that ball was inside.
I think there was actually a loose seam on that ball, and that loose seam caught the end of the strike zone.
Well, again, we talked about last night with Anibal Sanchez because he was so erratic in the strike zone. He didn't get the close call. Well, tonight, Matt Boyd is efficient. He's pounding the strike zone, and so he's getting the benefit of the doubt.
2-2 on Profar. He popped up in his only at bat. He'll spray that one foul back into the seats. 2-2, the count stays. Profar at one time was the best prospect in baseball, but shoulder problems have short-circuited his major league career. A shortstop by trade, but they have Elvis Andrus here. There's a ground ball to first, right at Miguel Cabrera, and Matt Boyd gets a 1-2-3 fifth inning. He is absolutely cruising right now. He's retired 10 straight. Sports Detroit is brought to you by Bell Tire. Get the lowest tire price, period. Bell Tire. And by Chevrolet. More than you expect for less than you imagine. Nighttime settling in here at Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas. Tigers have 11 hits tonight, but only 1 run. It's been an odd line scored for the Tigers. And I guess you could call Hamels Houdini tonight because he has pitched out of one jam after another.
I like that Houdini.
Well, he got the ground ball double play from Aviles to end the last half inning with the bases loaded. He's had a guy thrown out at the plate. And that was Saltalamacchia who leads it off here in the 6th. Hamels has just thrown his 80th pitch of the night as he goes to work here in the 6th inning. A gout splintered bat and a ground ball foul makes the count 1-1. Now that's an odd splinter. You don't normally see. That. I'll take that out of play. Firewood. Of course, folks around here probably aren't starting too many fires tonight with the temperatures around 100.
No, I don't think so at all, Mario.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. Lifted in the air to center field, not deep. Ian Desmond is under it. Salty's out of there, 1 gone. Well, Menards brings you the big money encounter. When you take on these Rangers, it is a pretty good encounter, and their numbers have been really good over the last 20, Simo.
Well, the Texas Rangers, as far as I'm concerned, offensively has to be considered the best offense in the game. And then when you look at it from a pitching standpoint, they've just done a better job of getting the Tigers out.
Dixon Machado stands in now. He's the only Tiger without a hit in this ball game. Dixon came up in the 2nd inning and walked, then loaded the bases, struck out in the 4th.
In the 2nd inning, though, he had an outstanding at bat, 9-pitch at bat, took some borderline pitches, showing some maturity in the batter's box.
Machado, by the way, got up at 4:30 this morning to make his flight to get to Arlington before the game. Nice play over there in the stands, apparently. Nicely done. But as Dixon said before the game, I'm not tired at all, man. I'm in the big leagues.
That's right.
The adrenaline takes over. Here's a soft floater back a second and over the head of Odor into right field. Machado with a 1-out single. He was on base for the 2nd time. Odor almost got to that.
just out of the reach of Odor.
If he was another inch taller, he might have gotten it.
He might have caught it. I wish I was a little bit taller.
Well, here's the top of the order now, Kinsler.
Wilmore, you talked about the 17 stolen bases that Dixon Machado had down in Toledo in AAA. He'll have to stay close because Colton Hamlin has a pretty good move over there. But the Tigers have been aggressive on the base pass tonight. Look for him to be aggressive and maybe try to steal a base and get himself in the scoring position.
The 12 hits that Hamels has given up tonight ties a career high. Yet again, the Tigers have only 1 run so far. Kinsler bounced to the mound with the bases loaded back in the 2nd. He doubled in the 4th. Ian looks at a ball outside. Kinsler spent 8 years of his career here in Texas, grew up in this organization, and admitted once the trade was consummated to send him to Detroit, he was upset. But since realized it was probably the best thing that could have happened to him in his career. As Machado draws another throw. I don't think anybody likes to be traded, but you always have to look at the other end of it. Somebody wants you.
Well, and that's what you have to realize as an athlete. Somebody else wants you, and they believe that you can be a productive hitter for their organization.
Hamels again keeping Machado close. He was only about a step off the bag that time. Infield shaded a little bit to the left side against Kinsler. Driven to left center field. It's going to be a long run for Desmond. Still going, stretching out to make the catch. Ian Desmond, the converted infielder, makes a nice play in the gap in left center.
He got a great jump on that ball off the bat. He knew exactly where he was going. Take a look at the route there. Gilson takes the direct route to the baseball and makes an outstanding play here. Let's take a big closer look at it here. Look at right off the bat, as soon as it hit, he's bolting towards the left center gap, and he cuts that ball off and makes an outstanding grab. And he also has awareness in the outfield to make sure that he gets the baseball back in, making sure that Machado wasn't tagging and not able to get to second base.
Fine defensive play by Ian Desmond. They'll bring up Casey McGee now. Well, with Iglesias going on the DL yesterday and a lefty on the mound for Texas, Collins not playing, which left McGee to take over the 2 spot in the lineup, and lo and behold, he's 3 for 3. Now, Brad said before the game he thought about several guys, but McGee was the one guy he kept coming back to.
McGee's a contact hitter, though. He seems to find a way to put the barrel of the bat on the ball, and he's done that throughout his career.
He'll line one to right field. That's going to get down and go to the corner. Might get another run in. Machado coming to third. They're going to send him around. McGee will cruise into second with a double and an RBI and a 4-hit game. And it's 2-0 Tigers.
Nice piece right there, though. Nice piece of hitting right there. That ball's down and away from him, stays on the baseball extremely well, and he whistles this ball absolutely down the line. That's not a bad pitch there, Mario. Out and away from him, didn't pull off of it, stayed on it, and hits a missile. And then you got to watch Machado. Machado picking him up and putting him down, scoring all the way from first base.
What a clutch RBI double there by McGee, so the Tigers get another run. And Miguel Cabrera now will step in. Oh, Machado was picking him up and laying him down, man.
Yes, he was.
There was no way that Dave Clark was not good at scoring. 2-0 ball game. We'll see if Cabrera now can drive in a run.
The little fellow breathing a little heavy right there, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he got up at 4:30.
Yes,
Leave
he
him
did.
alone. That'll get away from Lucroy, go to the backstop, advance the runner. It'll be a wild pitch for Hamels.
You got to leave that huffing and puffing, though, Mario, to the big fellas. You know, the little fella can't be huffing and puffing.
Now, he's got to be in much better shape, right, than the big guy.
Yeah.
He's still breathing hard.
He is breathing. It's hot out there. It's humid.
That's the other part of it. They're just going to put Cabrera on now. They don't want to deal with him. They'll walk him intentionally. Well, Cabrera's gotten this kind of treatment most of his career. That'll be his 10th intentional walk of the season.
I mean, they really don't want to deal with the guy behind him, Victor Martinez, either. But if you're going to, you have to pick your poison. And I guess Victor, Hamels picking Victor to go after here.
Well, Victor got him for an RBI single in the 5th. 2-0. Tigers have the lead. Hamels now is up to 92 pitches as we play here in the 6th inning. Victor 1 for 3 in the game. And by the way, that hit is the 13th allowed by Cole Hamels. That is a career high.
The Tigers are putting together some solid at bats. And again, he's been able to escape. What you call him, Houdini? He's Houdini a few times, but at the same time, the guys are putting together solid at bats. They're making him work, and they're barreling him up.
Ball 2 on Victor, 2-0. Hamels coming inside in the first 2.
Hamels one of the guys, one of the pitchers that you have to outcompete. He won't give in, and so you have to battle with him. You have to have confidence in your approach to take the borderline pitches and make him make a mistake. And the Tigers have done a pretty good job of that tonight.
There you go, career high for Hamels, who last season in his last start before the trade from the Phillies to the Rangers, no hit the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. That's a feat in itself with that offense. Here's the 2-1. Bouncing ball, shortstop side. Andrews has plenty of time, and that is that for the Tigers. However, how about Casey McGee? He's got a 4-hit night, including an RBI double here in the 6th. And the Tigers take a 2-0 lead. Go to the bottom of the 6th inning. It is now a 2-0 score with the Tigers on top. And now Matt Boyd goes back to work. He's done really well so far, Craig. And what have you seen tonight from the lefty?
Well, I love the fact that he's attacking the strike zone. It appears to me he's throwing every pitch with conviction. He's using the inside part of the plate which I believe has opened up the outside part of the plate. You're watching the Rangers hitters front side start to fly open a little bit, so to speak.
Elvis Andrus leading it off here. It'll be Andrus, Chu, and Desmond. Here's the 1-0 for Boyd. Fouled back out of play, 1-1. It's been a good stretch for Boyd. He's retired 10 straight. The last base runner they had was the Moreland 2-out double in the second. In fact, the Rangers offense tonight, the vaunted Rangers offense, only 2 hits. Now the 1-1. Andrews slaps it foul back out of play. You're seeing some swings here that just seem very off balance here tonight against Boyd.
And I think it's because of the speed, the separation between his fastball and his changeups. And again, Mario, when you're a right-hand hitter or even a left-hand hitter, but when a pitcher shows the ability that they're going to come inside, it speeds you up a little bit. And hitters don't like to get jammed, so you want to catch the ball out front, and it makes you susceptible to that pitch on the outside part of the plate.
It'll pop up down the first base line, heading back to the seats. Will it stay in play? And it's foul. Kinsler got there, but just couldn't haul it in. He and Miguel were in there in foul territory, almost got to it.
This is a big inning for Matt Boyd. That third time through the lineup, and I know Elvis Andrus is a 9-hole hitter, but he's getting up to the top of Chu. Guys are hitting over 300 that third time through the lineup, so it's going to be important for him to maybe mix up his pattern, change it a little bit. If he went fastball hard the first couple times through, then maybe you ought to start him off with some breaking balls to try to keep them off balance and keep them from doing some damage and getting back into this game.
In the air to right field, J.D. Martinez cruising back. And Andrus is out, 1 gone. We check in again with John Keating.
All right, Mario, on the concourse level, we're seeing things we've never seen before, including the boomstick. It's literally a 2-foot hot dog with all the trimmings that comes in a box. Sarah and Lucille sell these things regularly. How many boomsticks do we sell?
We sell at least like 200 to 300 a day.
How many calories in a boomstick? Do we know that? Does anybody care?
I don't think no one's care. I don't think so.
And there you see them being grilled right now, prepped for the very hungry. You would have to be very hungry waiting for a boomstick here at a Rangers game as they play the Tigers tonight, guys.
All right, Keats. What do you say, Seymour? You want a boomstick?
No, I don't want a boomstick.
Is that the sound it makes when it goes down your stomach? Boomstick. Boom. That's I would imagine a lot of calories.
Yes.
Well, Boyd now gets a visit from Saltilamakia. They tell us the boomstick costs, get this, if you want a boomstick here, $26.
26?
$26.
Wow. I'm good, Mario. When I go to a baseball game, I rarely get a chance to go.
Yeah.
Give me a hot dog.
Yep.
And an adult beverage. I'm good.
Well, but that is a hot dog. It's just supersized.
No, that's way too big. I just need a regular hot dog.
You can feed a
Some
family
ketchup.
of 4, Sebo.
That's it. A boomstick.
3-0 on Chu, and he looks at a strike, 3-1. Shin-Soo Choo is batting here with 1 out. We're in the 6th inning. He's 0 for 2 in this game. They're playing him to pull. And there's ball 4. It's going to be a walk for Boyd. He had retired 11 straight prior to that base on balls. It'll bring up Desmond. Now, with your hot dog, are you a ketchup guy? You a mustard guy? You both?
Both.
Really?
I'm both. I'm in mustard, ketchup, and even going to put some onions on top of it.
Okay.
Just to top it off.
Relish?
No relish.
No relish.
No relish for me. I'm a simple man, Mario. Just give me a hot dog.
That's what I hear.
I'm simple. Just give me a hot dog. I'm good.
Here's Desmond. And a throw back to the bag. Chu at one time stole a lot of bases. He has swiped 6 this year. 2-0. Tigers have the lead. Cole Hamels has allowed 13 hits, a career high in this game, but only 2 runs. swing and a miss.
Big swing right there by Ian Desmond. He wasn't trying to go the other way there. He was trying to hit that ball out of the ballpark.
Desmond fly out and a pop-up. And now Boyd at 75 in the pitch total. You can see a lot of strikes here today.
Very effective and efficient in the strike zone today.
Another swing and a miss, another big hack.
Take a look at the swing here. Look at the hips, the front hips. That's what I'm talking about. When you pound guys inside, it forces them to think about that pitch on the inside part of the plate, and you simply can throw that changeup with the speed differential being 10 to 11 miles difference. You're going to get those swings throughout the night.
Now the 0-2. Checked it. Did he go? Did not. So says Brian Knight.
Again tonight, Mario, for Matt Boyd, a lot of 0-2, a lot of 1-2, good pitchers, counts where he can expand the strike zone, he can elevate a fastball, hopefully get the guys to chase, or he can simply go back to that real good changeup, fading down and away from him, and get an out.
And it's been the opposite with Hamels. He has fallen behind a lot of hitters. There's the bouncer right back to the mound. Could be two. Boyd to second one. Relay. Not in time. Boyd had to throw across his body to get the ball to second base. We'll keep the inning going. Two gone.
It's going to be tough for him to turn this double play, though, with Ian Desmond running. He can fly a little down the line. But he does an outstanding job getting the baseball to Ian Kinsler and giving him a chance to turn the double play.
Here is Adrian Beltre. Beltre's had a big series, 4 hits already. In there, strike one. Right over the heart of the plate with a fastball.
Mario, with every start that Boyd gets here, I mean, it seems as he gets more confident, more sure of himself. He's now pitching. He's pitching to contact. He's not afraid to throw in strikes over the heart of the plate. And early on in his career, when he put on the Tigers uniform, we couldn't say that. He was nibbling on both sides of the plate. But now, I love that he's attacking. He's trusting the guys behind him.
Well, he's making one of the best offenses in the American League look pretty pedestrian tonight.
He really is. And again, it's because he's changing speeds. He's moving the baseball inside and outside, hitting all 4 quadrants of the strike zone with his fastball, mixing in a real good breaking ball. He's backdoored that breaking ball, and he's also threw that breaking ball down at that right, especially at right-hander's back foot. It's a pitch that righties continue to swing over top of.
0-2 on Beltre. And he reaches and pops it up. Kinsler going back to the grass. And that'll be it for the Rangers here in the 6th. 6 strong innings. Not to mention a boomstick. Look at that.
You want one of those, Mario?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Not in a million years.
Let's split it.
No.
Oh.
Okay. Top of the 7th. 2 runs on 13 Tigers hits, but one of the big stats tonight, the Tigers have stranded 11 against Cole Hamels. And he'll go back to work in the 7th, facing J.D. Martinez, Justin Upton, and Mike Aviles. Martinez 1 for 3 in this game, and J.D. looks at a breaking ball that drops in for a strike. .299 on the year now for Martinez. And he came in batting .333 against left-handed pitching. He has killed lefties this year. 0-2 the count. JD still sitting on 99 career home runs. Here's the 0-2. Ooh, a late swing, and he just got a piece of it to stay alive. Hamels about to throw his 100th pitch of the evening. Not sure which I'm more impressed by, the fact that Hamels has weathered the storm here, or the fact the Tigers have put up a ton of hits against this guy. And that's going to miss inside at low, 1-2.
Well, they're doing a really good job of, again, making him work. One of the things about J.D. Martinez that I've been impressed with, Mario, is how long his bat stays in the strike zone. And it allows him to do a number of things. And one of them is definitely hitting the ball out the opposite way, but it also helps him stay back long enough to hit both breaking balls and changeups as well.
Got him looking there. Here's our Comerica Bank game summary. Tigers have had a ton of scoring opportunities. They finally got on the board in the 3rd, and they did so with 3 consecutive singles. Casey McGee, Miguel Cabrera, and then eventually Victor Martinez. The Tigers get on the board with a 1-0 lead. Then in the 6th, it took a bloop single by Dixon Machado to get it going. And McGee gets his 4th hit of the game, scoring Machado. And the Tigers lead it one by a score of 2-0 now. And what a game for Casey McGee, who has lit up the scoreboard tonight.
Brad went with his gut.
He did.
Casey McGee putting him in that 2-hole, and boy, has he delivered tonight.
0-1 on Upton. The most that Hamels has thrown this year is 123 pitches back on July 28th against the Royals. In there, a strike called, 0-2. Rangers, meanwhile, have not had too many scoring chances against Matt Boyd, who has been sparkling tonight. Up and in on Upton, 1-2. Justin had a single in the 5th, snapping an 0 for 17. Boy, the Tigers can sneak this one to the win column, Simo. When you looked at it on paper, you saw Cole Hamels and you saw Matt Boyd, who has struggled in this ballpark. This would be a quality win tonight if the Tigers can hold on.
Well, on paper, yeah, no question about it. You thought coming into this game there was no way that Matt Boyd would match Cole Hamels pitch for pitch, inning for inning, and he's done exactly that.
Well, Hamels a little bit upset after that last call. He thought he had him struck out. Tigers only 2 for 10 with men in scoring position tonight, but they lead. Swing and a miss, and Upton down on strikes.
Let's take a look at Jay Up's swing here, Mario. We talked about his swing being a little bit long, and it's getting better, guys. But take a look at the swing here. Watch how the hands on this particular swing, not bad, but he hit. The rhythm and timing was not necessarily there. Hands kind of went away from his body. Here's the swing number 2, to where I felt like he was getting a little bit long, where his hands goes away from his body. But here's the base hit to left field. That is a very short and compact swing that allowed him to drive that ball to left field.
Now, if he could just be more consistent with that swing, he'd certainly be onto something. Aviles batting with 2 outs. He slaps it foul back out of play, 1-1.
Let's take a look at the hit again. Watch the timing there. Gets the front foot down. And it still can be shorter, no question about that. But you like that he got the front foot down and was able to get the bat head out in front to barrel that ball up and hit it pretty hard to left field.
Aviles hammers one to left field. It's going to drop. Base hit. Line drive single to left for Mike Aviles. 2-out base runner. Well, Hamels, I mean, he's at 110 right now, but really only one inning is far beyond what you would like to see.
Yeah, that second inning, 24 pitches. They got after him. They made him work in that particular inning. But he settled in the next 2 innings, 13, 14 pitches. He's pitched on a lot of stress today.
Oh, my goodness. Aviles just got picked off. He was spinning his wheels getting back to the bag. And the Tigers may want to look at this, but he was called out. Brian Knight was right there, and Aviles shaking his head no.
It's close.
Yeah, really close.
It's real close.
See if the Tigers want to challenge here. It's late enough in the game, they might want to just challenge it anyway. We'll see what Brad decides. Yep, they want to challenge it. Aviles immediately said, no, I was safe. Here's a different look. It was tough to tell right there.
Yeah, that was a tough angle. I mean, that probably was the best angle to tell there, and I really couldn't tell.
If Hamels puts that ball right on the bag and all he has to do is slap the tag on, he's gone. The Tigers challenging here on the pickoff. Here's another view.
It's really close. There.
It might be simultaneous.
Yeah. What's the old saying? Inconclusive.
Yeah, and if that's the case, it's going to be out.
It's going to be out.
But we'll see if that's what they decide. Aviles pretty adamant that he got back in. Rangers have not left the field. Hamels going back out to the mound. He's going to warm up a little bit, it appears. There's yet another look. Saw him spin his wheels getting back into the bag. And they called him out. So the inning is over. Aviles is picked off first base. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th. Still 2-0 Tigers.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen.
It looked like Cole Hamels, the established veteran, against Matt Boyd, the rookie that had struggled in this ballpark, but the numbers are certainly reversed. How about that, Simo? Only 2 hits allowed to this offense.
Only 2 hits by Matt Boyd. And only 1 strikeout, 1 walk. And again, he's just been so efficient in the strike zone. And he's not overpowering him, Mario. He's simply changing speeds with his fastball. He's changing speeds with his changeup. And when you do that, you keep hitters off balance. And then that's exactly what Matt Boyd has done to a potent, and I mean absolute potent Texas Ranger lineup.
Here is Carlos Beltran to lead it off as we go to the bottom of the 7th. It'll be Beltran, Odor, and Lucroy. Tyler Collins has taken over now in center field for Aviles. Fouled back out of play, 1 ball and 1 strike. Rangers team was just so comfortable offensively last night, but tonight they just they've been tied up in knots by Boyd. 305 batting average for Beltran. He's over 2, couple of fly balls. There's a chopper hit to third. That is a foul ball. McGee charging on that ball. One ball and 2 strikes.
Mario, from an offensive standpoint, when you're in the batter's box against a guy like Matt Boyd, they're difficult to get to. And the reason being is you come accustomed to guys that really enjoy their fastball. They want to challenge you with good fastballs. And so you can really time that fastball and get to it. Well, with Boyd, he knows he can't overpower you, so he knows he has to have pinpoint controlling. He has to hit the corners, but he also has to change speeds. He's got to move that baseball around. Those guys make it difficult to barrel them up.
He'll miss high and away, and the count goes 2-2. And yeah, you just get that feeling tonight that the Rangers just have not been able to barrel him up. They've had very few balls that have been hit hard in this game. Very few.
A lot of guys are out on that front foot because of that nasty changeup that he's featured.
2-2 on Beltran. He is batting in the cleanup slot tonight for the Rangers. Just got a piece of it. No, struck him out. Apparently didn't get a piece of it. There's 1 gone here in the 7th. Boyd strutting around the mound with another strikeout. Tigers T-shirt Fridays continue this Friday when the Tigers battle the Boston Red Sox at 7:10 p.m. Get a game ticket plus an Justin Verlander emoji T-shirt when you purchase exclusively at Tigers.com/T-shirt Fridays. One away here in the 7th. Here is Rougned Odor, and he looks at a strike.
Not a bad idea right there about Rougned Odor looking to bunt there. Matt Boyd has kept the Rangers off balance, so that was a smart idea. They're trying to get something going.
Ryan and Alex Wilson in the Detroit bullpen. Odor has put the ball in the air twice. He's 0 for 2. Meanwhile, Keone Kela warming up again for Texas. It'll bounce in 1-2. The last Rangers hit in this game was the double by Moreland in the 2nd. At one point, Boyd had retired 11 straight, then walked a man in the 6th. What a fabulous outing tonight for Boyd. Infield playing to pull on Odor.
That was the first time all night that I seen Boyd step off the mound. For whatever reason there, him and Salty were not on the same page, and they've been on the same page all night.
The 1-2. Rip foul. Nice play on the carom down there. That ball girl down the first base line, she's got some skills.
Yeah. She acts like she's done that a time or two before.
Boyd ready again with the 1-2. Swing and a miss, and Odor is out of there. 2 up, 2 down here in the 7th. Let's check in with John Keating with more scintillating food ideas here at the ballpark.
Just showed you the $26 hot dog, the boomstick. Let me show you a $27 sandwich. They do everything bigger here in Texas. This is the Wicked Pig. It includes 5 different kinds of pork product: pulled pork, ham, sausage, bacon, prosciutto, and on the side, just for fun, pork rinds. 27 bucks. And I'm all for novel and new and cool. Some things are just kind of gross, don't you think?
I wonder if it comes with a stent, because you probably need one after eating
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Clear.
Keats working overtime tonight.
Yes. How about the food,
27
though?
bucks.
Keats, tell the honest truth now. Did you sample either one of those, the boomstick or that concoction you just showed us?
2 words, not yet. We're working here.
Well, let us know when you finally get around to it.
You got it. I'll be bigger than the last time you saw me.
3 balls to no strikes.
Oh. How about the foods, though? With all the ballparks down, they're just exotic foods like crazy. They're coming up with any and everything.
It's unreal.
It really is, Mario. It's unreal.
Well, there's a 4-pitch walk to Lucroy. And it's a 2-out base runner. Well, now you bring the tying run to the plate in Mitch Moreland. And for as dominant as Boyd has been tonight, I mean, these Rangers are just one swing of the bat away from tying the game, which has not made things comfortable in the Tigers dugout. Ryan, Wilson looking on. Moreland with a double and a line out. Swing and a miss.
Mario, we talked about this last night. No lead. It's safe here at Globe Life Park. As a matter of fact, the Rangers have come from behind to win the game 36 times this year.
Well, we don't need to know about that. Keep those numbers under wraps.
All right.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Strike called. 0-2 on Moreland.
Boyd ahead in the count here, Mario, again. And it seems like that's been the theme of the night, pitching ahead in the count. 0-2 here gives himself an opportunity to expand the strike zone. Again, maybe fastball up, throw that nice breaking ball down and away, and get Moreland out.
Ground ball right at Miggy at the bag at first base. That'll end the inning.
That's how you draw it up.
No runs, a walk, and 1 man left. 7 sparkling innings for Matt Boyd tonight. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire. presented by Magic Window. Oh, we flash back to July 29th of 01 in this ballpark. A slender Craig Monroe.
Oh, what do you know? You guys went back in the archives.
Yes, we did.
You did, but the greatest moment right there, man. Hall of Famer Pudge Rodriguez greeting me at the front steps there. Oh, it doesn't get any better than that.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, how about that, though, Mario? Now I'm in the booth trying to talk some great Tiger baseball.
Well, another great moment here at the ballpark tonight is Matt Boyd getting the congratulations, especially now from Justin Verlander. What a night for Boyd. 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 3 punch-outs. To come into this ballpark against this offense, those are mighty impressive numbers. And now Keona Kela comes in on a wall-side windows pitching change.
Well, Keona Kela, here's the scouting report. He's got 3+ pitches. He's got a firm fastball that anywhere from the mid to upper 90s. He's got a sharp breaking ball and a plus changeup.
And you've got Saltalamacchia to deal with here to start things off in the 8th. Salty, then Machado, and then Kinsler. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike.
The Rangers trot out a lot of guys out of that bullpen, guys, that has some real firm fastballs, 95 plus. Solid secondary pitchings.
There's a ball low and away, and the count now on Salty is, well, that's a strike apparently. 1-2. Foxtrot's headed outside. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Ooh, up and in. Saltalamacchia barreling out of the way.
That was a correct way, too, to get out of the way. So many times guys bail out of there where their face and their chest is still where they can get hit. But Salty turned on that ball, I mean, the way you should, to get hit on the big muscle, on your back, where it's still going to hurt more, but it's just not going to sting.
Do less damage.
It's going to do less damage. It can sting as long. That was one of the things that I worked on, Mario, but could never do. If the ball was coming in at me, it was pretty much going to hit me because I was going to bow out and leaving my face and everything exposed and not turn on that pitch. And Salty did an outstanding job of turning there.
He held up on the swing, leadoff walk here in the 8th. And follow Tigers baseball live with the MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment of game day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet. Tigers trying to extend a 2-0 lead. They've got Dixon Machado up there. And he shows bunt, lays it foul behind home plate. Dixon doing all he can to get that runner to second base. But the form not quite as good there.
Yeah, I would have liked to see him get the bat head a little bit further out in front of home plate where he can deaden that baseball and get the guy to second base.
Machado had a bloop single and scored a run in the 6th. He pulled it back that time.
A lot better form there too, Mario. Did you see how he got the bat head much better out in front to where that's where you can see the baseball. You also can watch it into the bat, and you can make a really good bunt. Right now, you want to bunt this baseball and make the first base.
Shane Green in the Tigers pen. That's bunted foul. Well, now with 2 strikes. Machado still with a long look down at third. You don't normally see a guy given an opportunity to bunt with 2 strikes. Every now and then the manager will be so upset he'll say, you know what, just do it.
Yeah, they'll force him to do it. That's exactly what they'll do.
They'll force 2 strikes. Bunt. Low pickoff throw.
But a 2-strike approach right here You got to let the ball travel. I think it's going to work out for him here if he lets that ball travel, and especially if it's a fastball. You have an opportunity to hit that hole there between first and second, especially with Moreland holding Salty on at first base.
Saltalamacchia walking to lead things off here in the 8th. Swinging a foul straight back by Machado. Dixon made his debut last May with the Tigers. They were in Oakland, got his first major league hit off Sean Doolittle. It was a single. And then it was called up at the end of the season, played semi-regularly down the stretch when Iglesias was injured.
Going back to the bunt, Mario, watching coming up through the minor leagues, and a lot of guys come through the minor leagues, you really don't bunt. But when you get to the big leagues, you're asked to bunt, and guys don't have the right form. And it's almost an uncomfortable feeling, too, when you square around to bunt. You feel like you're kind of in no man's land. The pitcher sees you square around early, and the first thing they do is throw the baseball up and in. It makes you very uncomfortable. So I think it's so important, especially in the lower levels, minor leagues. You got to force these guys to learn how to bunt, so when they get to the big leagues, they can lay down a bunt and get the guy over and get him in the scoring position.
Machado didn't like that call, but he's punched out one away.
Well, that was that breaking ball I was talking about. It stayed up a little bit. Not a lot of bite on it, but it was a strike. More of a get-me-over one.
That'll bring up Kinsler. You say you really didn't bunt a whole lot in the minor leagues. I wonder why that wasn't part of the daily regimen there.
Well, for whatever, when you're in the minor leagues, you're a 3, you're a 4, you're a 5-hole hitter.
Yeah.
And you're expected to be a run producer. But when you get to the big leagues, you're hitting 7th, 8th, 9th.
Ah, I got you.
And so what happens is guys don't necessarily commit to laying down those bunts. They're more focused on trying to drive runs in, hit the ball out of the ballpark, hit doubles. It's a lost start as far as I'm concerned in the game.
I would agree. A double for Kinsler and 4 at-bats in this game. There's a foul right at home plate. Now, there is the other end of thing where the analytics folks feel that, you know, bunting is wasting and giving away an out, and that it should be a lost art form. And there are arguments when you look at the numbers that, you know, when you bunt, you're giving up that out and you have less of a chance to actually score the run instead of not bunting. So I think the thinking is probably turning around a little bit in the big leagues, and maybe less of bunting. There's a ball high, and the count is 1-2. Kinsler trying to get something going here after the leadoff walk in the 8th. 1 gone. Ian now has hit safely in 10 of his last 11. 2-0 Tigers have the lead here in the 8th. Swing and a miss. Ooh, that ball is at the bill of his cap. And down goes Kinsler.
Here's the 1-800 call Sam call of the game. Give Brad Hoskins a lot of credit. Went with his gut, putting Casey McGee in the 2-hole, and he delivers 4 knocks tonight. And a big one right there down the line on a double to score Dixon Machado.
Well, does he have a 5-hit game in him? We'll find out. There's the ball high. One ball, no strikes on McGee. He's bumped his average all the way up to 346. Fly ball right field. Hit pretty well. Chu going back to the track, right in front of the wall to make the catch. Tigers get a leadoff walk, but strand a man. We go to the bottom of the 8th.
pitch by pitch. Matt Boyd was dialed in tonight. Only one punch out, but guys, pounding the strike zone with quality strikes, keeping the Rangers off balance. Good fastballs inside, good fastballs outside, and the speed differential between the changeup and his fastballs was outstanding. Allowed him to go 7+ innings tonight.
99 pitches for Mr. Boyd. Now he gives way in a well-set Windows pitching change to Shane Green. It's been a while since Greeny's pitched. In fact, the last time he was on the mound for the Tigers against the Mets in the last homestand. He's had a bit of a crispy back, and so he's back out there.
Glad to see Greeny back out there. I love Greeny in the 8th inning. I just love the mentality. He likes these big situations. When the game's on the line, he just seems to rise to the occasion, Mario.
Jurickson Profar leading it off. Green was in the rotation at the beginning of the year, and boy, has he taken to that pressure of coming in the 8th inning. Because when he pitches, more times than not, the Tigers are either tied or have the lead. There's a ball high and away. 2-0 the count.
There's some guys, Mario, that embrace that moment. They embrace those big moments, and there's guys that shrink. And for me, Greeny's one of the guys that embrace those big moments. And it's him, you or him, you know, and that's how he goes at hitters.
2-1 on Profar. He is 0 for 2 in this game. He popped up and grounded out against Boyd. Up to the Tigers bullpen to hold this one now. 7 spectacular innings on a Matt Boyd. Here's the 2-1. Down he goes. He hits the deck. 3 balls, 1 strike. Jurickson Profar at one time was the best prospect in baseball and got to the big leagues, hit a lot of home runs early, and then really missed a couple of years, 14 and 15 with shoulder problems. And a ball high, and the leadoff man is on here in the 8th inning. Well, Sunday, August 28th is Gloves for Kids Equipment Collection Day. Please donate your new or gently used baseball or softball equipment to benefit youth leagues in Michigan. Donations can be made at Gate A from 11 a.m. until the end of the 2nd inning. The first 200 fans to donate receive a free gift. For more information, visit tigers.com. That'll bring the Tiger onto the plate now. Number 9 hitter Elvis Andrus. Green takes a deep breath after the leadoff walk.
A lot of times when you haven't pitched in a while, the adrenaline is pumping a little bit too much, and he had to take a deep breath, as you said, and calm himself down and get back on track.
And he missed outside. 1 ball, no strikes. The last appearance was August 6th against the Mets, a scoreless inning against New York.
The excitement, you get to this level, there's nothing like competing. And Greeny's one of those guys that enjoys competing. But here he'll have to calm himself down and make some quality pitches.
Pretty good pitch there on the outer edge. 1 ball, 1 strike. Andrus with a ground out and a fly out. Leadoff walk to Profar. Tigers would love to turn 2 here.
Greeny has that real nice 2-seam fastball that he likes to throw to get the ground ball with some nice sink in the strike zone.
2-1.
Having a tough time right now finding the strike zone.
Infield and double play depth up the middle. Kinsler and Machado. Dyson is up now in the Texas bullpen. Runner goes on 2-1, grounded foul at home plate. Profar makes a U-turn, heads back to first. Tiger bullpen last night was good. Suppold and Rondon came on to keep the game where it was and allow the Tigers to form a bit of a comeback. Swing and a miss, and Andrews is out of there. One gone.
Nice tight slider there by Shane Green there. Salty wants that ball away, and Greeny dials it right up. Pinpoint accuracy, command on the outside part of the plate there. Gets Elvis Andrews.
Now the top of the lineup, Shin-Soo Choo. Strike one to Choo. A base on balls in the sixth, otherwise 0 for 2 against Matt Boyd. Shin-Soo batting .258 on the season. He's been hampered by some injuries, a calf strain, a hamstring problem, a sore back as well. Choo drives one high in the air to left, not deep. Upton coming on. He's under it. Runner tagging but holding, 2 outs. So Green comes back nicely after the leadoff walk to Profar. Bring up Ian Desmond.
Well, he found that real good arm slot, which allows him to draw a direct line to home plate, and he can be more efficient in the strike zone. You got to love the adjustment. That's what the game is about for me. The game's about making in-game adjustment, pitch to pitch, at bat to at bat. And nice adjustment there by Shane Green.
Desmond reaching on a fielder's choice in his last at bat. He's 0 for 3. Ball 1.
Greeny will have to stay out of his happy zone. Appears to all night tonight. And Desmond front side has been flying open, looking to pull the baseball. So Greeny will have to stay away from him, keep the baseball down and out of the middle of the plate.
That's off the end of the bat, foul, and now the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. Only 2 hits for the Rangers tonight. A single by Beltre in the first, a double by Moreland in the second, and just a couple of walks the rest of the way. That has been it. Two and 1. You got Beltre, then Beltran. You got the middle of the lineup lurking, so the Tigers at least one more time will have to go through the middle. Rangers tonight have had a total of 6 base runners. That's it. I think last night they had 6 base runners in the first inning.
Right.
2 and 2. Ian Desmond has fit in nicely here in Texas, making the move from short to the outfield. He's had a big year offensively, 70 RBIs. Little chopper back up the middle. Nice play by Green, and he throws him out. Excellent play by Shane Green. That'll end the inning. 8 in the books here in Arlington. Coming up for the Tigers, Cabrera, Martinez. A 2-0 ball game. All right, fellas, here come the Tigers in the ninth. It is 2-0 in favor of Detroit. Kella is still out there. He's got the middle of the lineup, Cabrera, Martinez, and then Martinez. And Miggy's had himself a game, couple of hits. He's had a walk. The average now at 313. Another run or two wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, a little add-on runs would be nice here, Mario.
Big swing there, and the count goes 1-1 on Cabrera. Kella came on in the 8th, walked a batter, but got a couple of strikeouts, no damage done.
Kella's got a firm fastball. I said earlier, he gets up to 98 miles per hour. He's also got an outstanding breaking ball.
He'll bounce that one in at 95 miles an hour. There is Francisco Rodriguez warming up in the Detroit bullpen. Kella earlier this year had surgery to remove a bone spur. There's the ball low. 3-1. Miggy swings and leaves the strike zone. 3-2 the count.
3-1 count there. Miggy knew he was going to get a fastball. Just wasn't in the strike zone. It was up. But again, when you get into those favorable hitters count, you can be aggressive and you can let it hang out, let it eat.
Swing and a miss, and down he goes again. Same location, and Cabrera upset with himself. He not only chased one, but he chased two. Third strikeout for Kella. Kella, born in Los Angeles, went to high school in Seattle. He's got Victor Martinez now. If he weren't in the ball game, an RBI single. Tigers got one run in the 5th on the RBI hit by Victor, and then McGee doubled in a run in the 6th. And Victor looks at ball one. Kella was used extensively last year. He made 68 appearances, all in relief. And had a really good ERA, 2.39.
Kella gets himself in trouble when he doesn't have that good command. Falling behind in the count.
One ball and one strike. When the Rangers bat in the bottom of the 9th, it'll be Beltre, Beltran, and Odor, 3, 4, and 5. One is outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Tigers have 14 hits tonight, but they have stranded a total of 12 in this game, and hopefully that will not come back to haunt them. As Barnett begins warming up in their bullpen. Bouncing ball right side of the infield for Odor. And Victor is out of there. 2 gone. Well, the Tigers host the Red Sox in a big 4-game weekend series, August 18th through the 21st at Comerica. For tickets, visit tigers.com or call 866-66-TIGER. You can buy tickets with no fees at the Comerica Park box office. Both Sox coming in, and that's the team that the Tigers are battling right now for the wild card. Two outs for J.D. Martinez.
Big Poppy coming to Comerica Park, huh?
Yeah, that's right. And a ball high to J.D. What do you got on Big Poppy? You think he's actually going to retire?
Well, the numbers he put up says no, no way, no how. But at the same time, it's always nice when you can put together a solid season and leave on your own terms.
I agree.
And obviously he's worked hard enough. He's put back enough money to be able to do just that.
Those paychecks are awfully nice, though.
Oh,
they're hard to give up.
They are. They're real big too, Mario.
That's what I understand. JD didn't like that last call from Hallian.
I remember being a rookie. I'd come up, Bobby Higginson would always tell me, come over here, Simo, take a look at this. So I go over there, look at it. It's about 600 and something thousand.
Oh,
he
man.
goes, oh, well, if you keep working hard enough, baby boy, you might get one of these.
Holy smokes.
Oh, Higgy had his way. He did. Love him.
1-2 the count on Martinez. That is some kind of incentive, though, that's for sure.
No, it is. Motivation.
JD in the ball game is 1 for 4. He's punched out his last 2 times. Here's the 1-2. Up and in. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Kella came on in the 8th. He is pitching here in the 9th. He's thrown 32 pitches. Trying to keep this a 2-0 game. Low, ball 3. Full count, 3-2 on JD Martinez. 2-0 Tigers in the 9th. And he walked him, ball 4. 2-out walk for Martinez. That'll bring up Justin Upton. Well, here's what the wild card looks like right now. The Red Sox, they were a winner tonight, and Blue Jays right now, the Red Sox holding on to the wild card setup, but the Tigers right there, along with Seattle. Seattle's starting to play really good baseball now.
They really are. They're led by Nelson Cruz in the middle of that lineup, and also Robinson Cano. Corey Seager's putting together some real nice production numbers.
Well, a quick visit out to the mound as Upton stands in now with a man on and 2 out. Justin is 1 out of 4 in the ball game.
I meant Kyle Seager there, not Corey. That's
yeah, I get him mixed up too.
I do. I get him mixed up a little bit.
Corey's out in L.A. Kyle's in
Seattle. Kyle's in Seattle. He got himself a nice deal.
Yeah, he did. 0-1 the count on Upton. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, yeah, they're both having great years too, so it's very easy to get them mixed up a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of baseball talent in the Seager family. Now Kella with the 1-1 pitch. Bouncing ball hit toward third, and Beltre has it there. That will end the inning. No runs, a walk, 1 man left. Hold on, we go to the bottom of the 9th. Here comes Frankie Rodriguez. Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica. Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy drives the Motor City. Wallside Windows. We can do that. We are the factory. And by Infinity. Visit your local Detroit area Infinity retailer for a test drive today. Well, we go to the bottom of the ninth here at Globe Life Park in Arlington, and Francisco Rodriguez trying to get the save for the Tigers.
Francisco, here's the numbers here, 45 in the third innings pitch. He's going to have to be more efficient here of late, Mario. He's struggling. In his last 5 outings, 4 innings, he's given up 4 earned runs.
Well, they all go through it, including the good ones.
Yes, they do.
I mean, what was Papa Grande a couple of years ago? 49 for 49.
49 for 49.
That's pretty rare. He's got the middle of the lineup to deal with here. Beltre leads it off. And now he's quickly ahead of Beltre, 0-2. It'll be Beltre, Beltran, and then Odor facing Francisco Rodriguez. The Tigers got 1 run in the 5th inning, 1 run in the 6th, and so far it has held up. The 0-2. Missed inside. That was close. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Mario, not many guys around the league or has been in the league that have one pitch that just completely dominates a lineup. You talk about K-Rod's changeup. I think of guys like Trevor Hoffman. You knew the changeup was coming,
Didn't matter.
You still couldn't hit it.
That's up and in. Straightens up Beltre, 2-2.
And I remember facing K-Rod when he was in the Angels uniform. And man, he was one of the most uncomfortable at bats because he had 98. For me, didn't seem to know where it was going. And then he could throw you 3 straight nasty sliders down the way to punch you out. But now I watch him, and he's a finesse guy. He's reading swings and changing speeds with his changeup.
And that's line to center, a base hit. Leadoff man is on.
And he just continues to rack up saves. Makes a mistake here, though. Leaves this pitch up and over the heart of the plate. And Beltre did exactly what you're supposed to do with that pitch. Barrel it up and line it to center.
When Frankie was younger, boy, he threw a lot of those sliders, didn't he?
Oh, he threw a lot of sliders. Again, he would throw fastballs up at you, and then you're scared to death. And then he'd throw you 3 nasty, I mean, absolutely nasty sliders down and away to punch you out.
Well, here is Carlos Beltran now. He's the tying run at the plate, nobody out. Swing and a miss. He was out in front. 0-1 on Beltran. That single by Beltre is the first hit for the Rangers since a double by Moreland in the 2nd. Now they're shifting on the right side of the infield. Left side wide open for Beltran. Outside.
Well, Rodriguez knew he was in the batter's box. Agent Beltre, he knew that he could not make a mistake. He got ahead of him 0-2. He tried to sneak that cheese by him, but it wasn't located well. And it cost him a base hit up the middle and a runner at first. With the time run at the plate.
Swing and a miss. Now 1-2 on Beltran.
Take a look at the Carlos Beltran career against Frankie Rodriguez. Just 1 for 4 with a strikeout. Take that strikeout right now. It'll be a big one.
No doubt.
He's ahead in the count. He has an opportunity to expand the strike zone, get in the chase.
Wouldn't chase that ball in the dirt, and it's 2-2. Beltran in his 19 years in the major leagues has had over 9,000 big league at-bats. 19 seasons in the majors.
Sweet stroke from both sides of the plate.
Outfield very deep on Beltran. Pull to right field. JD going to the corner is under it. He'll make the play. And Beltran was out in front of that one and flies out. One gone. Here is Rougned Odor. Odor is 0 for 3, struck out in his last at bat.
K-Rod would definitely have to hit his location and keep the baseball down against this young man, Rougned Odor. He's got 22 home runs, that's 60 RBIs, hitting over 280. He's been doing some major damage here of late.
Odor looks at a strike in the outside corner. Well, they're playing Odor to pull as well. How much do you think, Simo, is this because of all of the off-speed stuff that Frankie throws that the opposing hitters might be out in front?
Well, I think that's a big reason why they're playing him to pull, because of the speed of that changeup. Most guys are going to be out front and pull that particular pitch.
And Odor looks at a ball low. 1 ball, 1 strike on the Rangers' second baseman. You got Lucroy waiting on deck. Leadoff single by Beltre. Tigers lead 2-0 in the 9th. That one just missed. Back-to-back pitches in the same location. Frankie with pinpoint control, but he just missed. And now 2-1 on Odor.
Odor's been patient. He understands the situation, Mario. He knows that he needs to get a pitch that he can handle up in the strike zone. And hopefully he can tie this game up. That would not be a welcome sight if you're a Tiger fan. But you have to love the approach by this young man in his second year in the big leagues.
Bouncing ball back up the middle. Machado. He'll race to the bag. One relay double play to end the ball game. Machado up the middle, tags the bag for 1, and Frankie gets it done again. And what a night tonight, Simo, for the Tigers pitching staff, really from Boyd all the way to Green to Frankie to close this offense down.
You have to love how they approached the Texas Rangers hitters today. They kept them off balance. They moved the pitches, fastballs, breaking balls around the strike zone. They did a number on the Texas Rangers tonight.
Only 3 hits allowed against Texas tonight. Tigers win it, even up the series. We'll be back.